Good morning, everybody. I'm Paul Lisnick. Coming up on WGN-TV Political Report.
It is a life and death issue which we have the power to change.
Another American city left reeling in the wake of a mass shooting with 10 dead in Boulder, Colorado. Will Congress finally act on gun control? Plus,
I want to get things done. I want to get them done consistent with what we promised the American people.
why is it so hard to get things done on Capitol Hill? We'll explain the Senate filibuster rule and why it's kept Congress in gridlock for decades. And a first-of-its-kind reparations program in Evanston, why some think the gesture doesn't go far enough. We begin this morning closer to home. Earlier this week, Evanston City Council members approved a first-of-its-kind to qualify for a grant for this reparations package. Applicants must be a black resident of Evanston between 1919 and 1969, must have lived there, or a direct descendant and have origins in any of the black racial and ethnic groups of Africa. Discriminatory rules during that time period limited black residents to a small area in town. Now, the plan will pass up to $25,000 to qualifying households. The money can be used for down payments, closing costs, mortgage payments, or home repairs. Up to $400,000 has been budgeted towards this housing initiative so far. The entire reparations program will be funded through sales tax collected on marijuana, as well as some donations. But my next guest says the plan falls short of the idea behind reparations as a whole. Evanston's 9th Ward Alderwoman, Cicely Fleming, was the council's lone no vote. She joins me this morning to talk about it. Alderwoman, good to see you. Thanks for being with me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So again, history being made, the first time a city has approved a reparations program. You were the one no vote, and yet you've said, well, wait a minute, I'm not so sure this is reparations. Explain.
Yeah, I was the one no vote. It was a hard vote as a black woman. Obviously, I support reparations. Ideally, federally, we should have had something done a long time ago. But I don't think this is reparations. Actually, it's, as it was called, it's restorative, I think, housing initiative under our reparations plan. But I think when we think reparations, when we looked at historically how reparations have been laid out for other ethnic groups of harm, of government harm, it has not been where the money has been transferred to a bank or to a contractor on their behalf. People have been given direct cash payments to repair the harm that the government has done. So this program, while we don't have the full $10 million yet, for an allocation of $400,000, I think it falls very short of what I and what other residents have said to them they thought reparations would be here in Evanston.
So just talk about who the program is going to help specifically, this program that did pass. I mean, look, reparations is a national issue, but Evanston has said, let's deal with this locally. It's going to be about people who lived here between 1919 and 1969. So was it not a decent place to start the process?
I mean, so 1919, 1969, that's fine. I don't just disagree with those things. I think in terms of starting the process, we started a conversation. If we want to start the process, we should start a process that we're proud to have other cities model. I don't think this is it. I think to give home ownership grants, give the money directly to banks who have, present day and in the past in slavery benefited off of exploitation and things against African-American people. I don't think that anyone saw the bank's role in reparations as being a benefactor. I think the bank should be, if anything, they should be giving towards a reparations program, even locally, even if it's just a better mortgage option for African-American people. So I think to call this reparations does a disservice to the name. I think it's caused a lot of racial tension. I think it's caused a lot of tension within the black community. Again, we understand that we're trying to be the first ones, but I think if we're going to be the first ones, we need to make a better model.
And I'm glad we get to give you a voice this morning because, just to read the headline in the newspaper, you're the lone vote who voted against a reparations program. That's what it appears like in the newspaper. But you explain yourself and what was going on in your mind. You clearly support reparations. That's not the issue. What are you hearing from your constituents? Do they get what you've done? Are they supportive or not?
They do. I mean, obviously, in any democracy, people have mixed feelings. So part of what led me to give such a strong statement on Monday and following is that I had heard from so many black residents and, quite honestly, white residents who were surprised once this plan came forward on Wednesday. Part of our government job is due diligence, right? So came forward Wednesday. I heard from many, many people about, had questions about $10 million and all kinds of things. And then we came forward on Monday and we voted for it. We did not even allow time for citizen comment. We didn't debate it. We didn't try to fix it or make any corrections. We just kind of had a vote. And so even that part of it, again, under the guise of reparations, it should be restoring and healing the community and kind of making amends for some things. I feel like it went totally the opposite direction. And so now, I'm doing these interviews, which was not my, kind of plan, but I'm hearing from so many other people that now that they read the details, they also are questioning why are we calling this reparations? Why are we giving such an easy pass to people who have been institutions like the bank who have been part of the harm and not listening to the voice of African-American residents who have said, hey, we want other options. We don't want you to control the money for us. We want to control it ourselves.
I'm sort of curious, with all that's been going on in the country, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, those situations, if reparations is to start in Evanston, did they start in the right place with housing, or is there sort of a different angle dealing with some of these violence-related issues, and would you support reparations in that direction?
Here's the thing. Reparations is to repair the individuals. So all the things that we're talking about, housing, policing, other kind of violence, those are institutional issues that people need to be working on anyway. We should not call that reparations. That's good government. That's treating all their citizens as if they're full citizens of the city or of the U.S. And so I think reparations to African-American people should be in the form of cash. I think correcting all the other ills in which we control as a society, whether it's school, policing, housing, banks, all those things, they need to address those things within their institutions, because a one-off program is not going to address those long-term. This program being called reparations, giving money to the banks on behalf of Black people, is a fine housing program. It is just not reparations, because it does not do anything to stop the harm that the banks cause. If we were to give, some kind of get out of jail card free to African-American people and say that we're doing reparations, it's going to combat all the, crime you just mentioned that are crimes of violence against, or things of violence against the Black people by the police, is not going to change the police institution. So I think we need to be really clear with what each institution's role is, and we as a city cannot rectify those systemic things that are happening to African American people and women and everything else. We can only handle our piece, and our piece, I feel very strongly, and residents have shared this view with me, is that we should not be treated as if we cannot manage our own funds. If we are being repaired, just as if you have a class action lawsuit, if you are a plaintiff, you get the money that the judge says. They don't tell you how to manage your money. They don't pay the money to someone on your behalf. Yeah. It's the same thing for African-American people in this case, in my opinion.
All right, Alderman Cicely Fleming, thank you for spending time with us today, clearing up your position. We've obviously let the voters in your area, constituents, and all around the state know what's going on. Thanks so much for being with me.
Thank you so much.
All right.